The Coleman Xtreme is a great cooler, and in my opinion it's the best cooler under $50 on the market. It can keep ice for up to 5 days and it's built really well. It's nothing crazy special like a Yeti, but it's a really good cooler. But it's not perfect, and so if you're in the market for coolers, you might want to know some of the problems with Coleman Xtreme coolers, and that's what we're going to look at in today's episode. Hey, I'm Ryan from thecoolerbox.com, and I've had this Coleman cooler for about 3 years now. Used it a lot in my van, used it at home and at parties and things like that, and I've had a bit of time to experience the problems with it. I also own a Roto-Moulded Yeti cooler, so I can see the differences between the two coolers. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first problem with this cooler is that it's not roto-molded. That just means the plastic on the exterior is blow molded plastic, and it's not as thick as a roto-molded cooler, which means it's not as strong. The plastic does have a bit of give, it does feel a bit flimsy. Now it is still quite a strong cooler, you can comfortably sit on it, okay, and there's absolutely no issues with it taking my weight. When my kids can stand on it and things like that, there's no issues with that. But jumping on it, or if I was to drop it, then this could easily crack and break, and that's something that wouldn't happen with a more expensive cooler. The second problem is the handles on this cooler are just a little bit flimsy. This is over 50 quarts in capacity, this cooler, so when it's full it gets really heavy, and as you'll see, let me just move a bit closer, with the handles, they turn around and rotate, which is pretty cool. But the way that they're fixed into place is just with a little pin in here. These are plastic pins that go through. You can't really see it that well in the video, but they just feel a little bit flimsy because there's plastic about 1/2 inch in length on each side that holds this into place. And when you're carrying this cooler full, I just worry that it's going to break. And look, it's never broken on me. It's done really well, but they just feel a little bit flimsy. The third problem is the flimsy drainage spout. Now again, this is not something that I have problems with or have ever had problems with in the past, but it is just a click-on spout. And so you can see it just unclips like that, and then it just pushes on into place. You don't even have a click. When it's in place, it just kind of pushes in, and I guess my fear with this is that it would just get caught on something and easily pop open, and all of a sudden my camper van's gonna fill up with water from the cooler. Thankfully, it's never actually happened, but I much prefer ones where they screw on and you know that it's in place and you'd have to unscrew it to open it. So this one just feels a bit flimsy and a bit too easy to open. The fourth problem is that there's no latches on this cooler. So if we look at the Yeti, so I've got my Yeti here, you can see that it's got these rubber latches which pull down the lid, so you can't get the lid open. So when it's closed, it's really closed, which means if it gets knocked over, the lid's not gonna fall open, it's not gonna leak or anything like that. However, with this one, there are no latches on the front as well. So the lid is just kept down. There's a bit of plastic sticking out there. It's kind of just kept in place through friction. And so this means that it's not as airtight. It's definitely not leak proof. And more air can get in, which affects the insulation, as well as if you knock this over and there's food inside, that is going to open up and all of your ice and water and food is going to come falling out. So no latches on it. The next problem, so the fifth problem, is that there's no commercial grade gasket on it. So around the lid is just plastic, which means there's no firm seal happening on the lid. Again, let's bring the Yeti cooler over and compare that. If we open the Yeti, we can see around here there's this rubber gasket which lines up with an indent on the body. So when you close it, that just forms a solid seal around it, which helps with insulation, helps with leak proofing, and that's something that the Coleman Xtreme doesn't have. Which leads to problem number 6, is that it's not leak proof. So I have done a test on this where I filled it up with water, tipped it to the side. I held onto the lid myself, so firmly held onto it, and it just leaks water like crazy. Water comes out from everywhere, so it's definitely not leak proof. Problem number 7, it's not exactly stylish, okay? It's not winning any design awards. It does the job, it looks alright, I'm not complaining about it. I don't need to hide it away under a paper bag because I'm scared of people seeing it. It's fine as a cooler, but it's not premium. My Yeti, again, I keep coming back to Yeti, but Yeti is just beautiful in its design, beautiful in its branding, even underneath with Yeti on there. Just everything about this cooler feels premium and feels really nice. Whereas with the Coleman Xtreme, it just feels like a regular cooler. There's nothing that special about the design for it. Number 8 is there's flimsy hinges on the back which actually make the lid fall down. Now, I've done some stretching of these hinges to kind of fix this problem, but as you can see, there's just plastic hinges that are screwed in here. And if we pull this back, what happens is the plastic of the hinges actually bends away from the body, and I feel like if you pull it too much, it's going to snap, or the screws that are holding it in place are going to snap. And the problem that I had when I first bought it is that the hinges were so tight is that it would only go about to here and then it would shut. So it wouldn't even stay open. You couldn't even open the lid and it stay open. Now I've had this for over 3 years now, so it stays open, but in the beginning it just used to always fall down, which was really annoying to try and open it. You want to get some things out, you'd have to hold it because otherwise it would shut and bang on your head or bang on your hands. So those hinges are, a problem with this cooler. Number 9 is that the cup holders mean less insulation. So I actually love these cup holders. They're one of the best features of this cooler, but it does mean that there's less insulation in the lid. So you can actually see that there's actually indents here in the lid to fit the cup holders. So there's basically no insulation at all in these 4 spots, which means a lot of heat is going to get into the cooler through there, or a lot of the cold is going to get out, whichever way you look at it. I think the heat goes in, but that's going to mean your ice is going to melt faster in there. So one of the best features, but does negatively affect the insulation of it. 10th problem with this cooler is that the warranty, I just don't know what the warranty is on this. I tried to look online. I bought this cooler about 3 years ago. Chances are it's not still under warranty. It was only $40 or $50 US. I will link up to it on Amazon down below through my affiliate link if you're interested. But I have no idea what the warranty is on this. So if there was problems with this, if the hinges did break, I was unhappy with the hinges, can I send this back? Can I get a replacement? But it's so cheap, it's kind of like, okay, well, if it's out of warranty and it breaks, it's only $40 to buy a new one. But yeah, the warranty, I just don't know what it is, and I couldn't find any information on it. Number 11 is that it is more susceptible to sun damage than the more expensive coolers. So leaving this out in the sun, or I live near the coast, so near the beach, leaving this out near the beach as well, it's just more susceptible to damage from the exterior. You can see that this is actually starting to rust. So that screw up there is starting to rust, and really it's the hinges that I worry most about with sun damage, that the plastic is quite brittle and I can just see those breaking quite easily, and just overall it's more susceptible to sun damage. Now that's something that's going to take years to destroy it, but something to think about. And number 12 is that there are no non-slip feet. So on the bottom you can see it is just plastic. That means that this thing just slides around like crazy. This can be good because I often use this as an extra table when I'm camping or even out on my balcony, and it's very light, it's very easy to move and slide around. The kids can move it. With the Yeti, it's a lot harder to move around given that it's heavier and given that it has the non-slip feet on there, which you can see. But when I take it in the van, the Yeti I can just throw in the van and it's just going to stay there. It doesn't really move. But this one, if I'm going to take my Coleman Xtreme in the van, then I do really need to tie it down, because otherwise it's just like a slip and slide in the back, and it slides around everywhere, bangs into the walls, and the top's not fixed on, so it'll slide, it'll bang, and might even fall over, spill contents everywhere, which is not what we want. So it doesn't have those non-slip feet. That also concerns me using this as a step, or my kids standing on it, because it just makes it way less sturdy, and it means that if they stand on it and then jump off, then it can, slide, and then they can hurt themselves. So that's a consideration that I have because I have kids. If you're just purchasing it for yourself, you're not really going to have that consideration. I don't think you're going to be jumping off your cooler, but it just so happens that's something that kids do. So there you can see some of the problems with the Coleman Xtreme cooler. Overall, I think this is an amazing cooler for the price. How long it keeps ice, how good it is compared to regular coolers around this price range. You just can't really beat this for around $50. There's also a version that has wheels and a pull-up handle, like a suitcase style handle, again for around $40. So you can get a wheeled cooler that will keep ice for about 5 days for under $50. Absolutely amazing. So this is actually one of my favorite coolers. The Yeti is one of my favorite. This is one of my favorite just because of some of the benefits that it has. But I do want to make you aware of some of the problems of it as well. But for the price point, if you're looking for a budget cooler, I definitely would recommend it. I'm going to go ahead and link up to the Coleman Xtreme 5-day coolers down below. Those links will take you through to Amazon, where you can see the current pricing for the cooler. You can see customer reviews over there. Go ahead and purchase one if you want. They are my affiliate links, so if you go through those and end up purchasing something, I do get a small commission, which helps support the channel. So thank you if you go ahead and do that. I did do a full write-up as well of Coleman Xtreme versus Yeti, so I'll link up to that down below as well. Go ahead and check it out. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because we've got lots of great cooler content coming out to help you choose the best cooler and stay up to date on the new coolers that are coming on the market. So make sure you subscribe, and until next time, stay cool.